So I'm going to read something here. This might clarify for some people. Cosmic and the personal. A combination of the sources did more than just affect Bible stories. It had an impact on the biblical conception of God. J, E, and D picture God in very personal ways, moving around the earth, taking visible forms, engaging in discussion and even debate with humans. P's conception was more of a cosmic, transcendent deity. P's creation story begins with the creation of the cosmic structure, light and darkness, day and night, seas and dry land, the firmament, heavenly bodies. J's creation story is literally down to earth. It begins with the making vegetation possible, followed by a creation of humans, plants, animals, without a single reference to light and darkness, the heavenly bodies, or even the seas. In their own terms, P is a story of heaven and earth, and J is a story of earth and heaven. God, I actually even said that in one of the videos, because NASB has the direct translation. That kind of sounded like I was patting myself on the back. Didn't mean for it to sound like that. P's flood story is a cosmic crisis. The windows of the heavens, the fountains of the deep are broken up. The water is above the firmament. The water that is above the firmament is spilling down. The water that is below the earth's surface is bursting up. The habitable part of the universe is a bubble of air surrounded by water. And the threatening waters are bursting from above and below. Jay's story, meanwhile, it simply rains for 40 days and 40 nights. And 40 just means many. 40 days and 40 nights just means a lot of days and nights. Anybody from any Semitic culture, Arab culture can tell you that. In P's creation and flood stories, God remains above and beyond, commanding and controlling humans and nature. In J's story, Yahweh personally walks in the Garden of Eden, makes humans first clothes, closes the ark, and smells Noah's sacrifice. In E's story of Moses, striking the rock at Meribah, God is standing on the rock. In P's version of the story, he is not. In J's story of Mount Sinai, Yahweh personally descends on the mountain of fire. In P, he does not. In J and in E, Moses actually sees God. In P, he does not. In J, Abraham pleads with God over the fate of the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. Moses pleads with God over the fate of the people. It should say Yahweh, but because it's J. The people in the spy story. E as well. Moses pleads over the fate of the people in the fate in the golden calf story. And later he pleads passionately and eloquently with God, with a God he has come to know, in a way a man talks to a fellow man. He can even say to God himself, "Why have you injured me?" And, "If you treat me this way, then kill me." In D, Moses pleads with God to let him live to arrive in the promised land, but God refuses. P never has humans speaking to God with such intimacy. In P, God is more transcendent, more distant. He gives commandments, and his will is done. In D, meanwhile, Moses tells people, "The commandment that I command you today is not too awesome for you, and is not too distant, and is not distant. It is not in the heavens," that people would say, "Who will go up to the heavens for us to take it for us and make it known so that we will do it." And it is not across the sea that people would say, "Who will cross the sea for us and take it for us and make it known to us that we will do it." but the word is very close to you, in your mouth and in your heart, to do it. Not to overstate the case, God is sometimes pictured as personal in P and is sometimes pictured as transcendent in J, E, and D, but the difference overall still is blatant and profound. When the redactor combined all the sources, he mixed two different pictures of God. By doing that, he formed a new balance between the personal and transcendent qualities of the deity. This is why it's more... I don't see anything wrong or bad, or it's... That's the best. I mean, that's what makes the Pentateuch, the Torah, the first 5 books of Moses, fantastic. Okay, people saying, "Oh, you're denigrating it with documentary hypothesis." No. It was a picture of God as both universal and intensely personal. Yahweh was the creator of the cosmos, but God, your Father, the fusion, artistically dramatic and theologically profound, but it was also filled with new tension. It was now picturing human beings coming into close personal dialogue with an all-powerful master of the universe. I kind of don't like that last part because I grew up watching He-Man, Masters of the Universe. It was balanced. It was a balance, and none of the individual authors. It was a balance none of the individual authors had intended. But that balance, intended or not, came to be the heart of Judaism and Christianity. Like Jacob at Peniel, both religions have lived and struggled ever since the cosmic personal deity that applies the most sophisticated theologian and to the simplest that applies to the most sophisticated theologian and to the simplest believer. Ultimate things are at stake, but every human being is told, the master of the universe is concerned with you, an extraordinary idea. But again, it is not planned by any of the authors. It was probably not even the redactor's design. It was so embedded in the text that the redactor could not have helped but to produce the new mixture, as long as he was at all true to his sources. So the fact that we have 2 creation accounts, we have 2 accounts of Noah spliced together, we have one author saying Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahweh all the freaking time before Moses, and acting as if there's kosher and unkosher, and I mean, it's you're like, what the hell is this person doing? You know, I would dispute things on E. I've come to understand a different picture of, or my different view of documentary hypothesis. Richard Ollie Friedman obviously is a fantastic Bible scholar of the Old Testament. He's Jewish. I don't think he ever touches the New Testament. Probably knows more about the New Testament than Protestants, though, but or at least evangelicals. So I don't want to say Protestants, evangelicals. So I've got my different views, and he even says in here and other books, it's up for debate. There's not really 2 scholars or even 2 people, unless they're just blindly following somebody else, that will say, that'll agree what is exactly P, what is exactly J. J and E are hard to figure out at some points, and P and E are hard to figure out at some points. But I would say this is where the original version of the Quran could come in and help. Unfortunately, we have the Sunnah and the Tafsir, and there was additions to the Quran itself, like dividing up in Mecca and Medina, and putting there is no God but God, Muhammad is his messenger in front of everything, and even the fact that the story of the way the Muslims say the Quran was constructed is beyond ludicrous. I'm going to do another video about that because it's ridiculous.